Hey, how's it going, everybody? Welcome to Chicago. Hey, there's the top of the St. Regis. Look, there's the car coming up and going down to the lower levels of Streeterville here. No, I think Lakeshore East. I'm getting out of work here. I'm all discombobulated. There's the Aqua, and there's the top of the St. Regis. These are the cars coming up and down out of Lakeshore East. The 3 levels of see lower Wacker drives this way. That heads up to Columbus, and we're on Stetson. Stetson's different than Stockton there. T-Lime, T-Time, how you doing? Thanks for tuning in here. Yeah, we're behind the old Illinois Center here, the Michigan Plaza. There's the Prudential. See, Stetson's Modern Steak and Sushi here on Stetson Street. This is in the Hyatt. That's the Hyatt Hotel, and that's the annex for the Hyatt. They got the Sky Bridge. We've walked across this Sky Bridge. Usually in wintertime we go there. But hey, we got 11:58, so maybe I'll get to the river in time so we can see if the Centennial Fountain's gonna launch. A lot of times when we go to Navy Pier, we'll try to catch the beginning and end of the Centennial Fountain because it coincides with my lunch break here. I just rushed out of the office here a little bit early because I'm going to try to catch this water jet going across the Chicago River. Hey, there's the Wrigley building. So hey, Krista, Prince, Sheridan, thanks for tuning in here. Let's see if we get the light. Yeah, the Hyatt Regency. Of course, the Pritzker zone. This J.B. Pritzker and his siblings, governor of Illinois. There's the Trump Tower. So look, Trump Tower, Pritzker, governor of Illinois, they're having the epic battle there. And here we'll run across the street here because we're going to try to catch the Centennial Fountain before it launches there. There's, you can see the St. Regis. This is looking east towards the lake on the upper part of Wacker Drive. Hey, you can see the top of the Aon, the Prudential. Man, that sunball's pretty bright here. Gilbert, how you doing there? Knoxville, Tennessee. Hey, that's a beautiful area of the country there. Thanks for tuning in here. Yeah, Hyatt Regency. So here, we'll try to get the fountain. How you doing? There it is. It's already going. There it is, the Centennial Fountain. See, I got here too late, but we'll still be able to see it. We'll head over that way. We got other footage right when it launches. Look, the boat's going by there. And here, look at the view to the John Hancock Sea Dogs down there. The dinner cruise boat there. But hey, the Centennial Fountain's going there. We'll get it in the background. The Sheridan Hotel, Columbus Drive. We walked through Streeterville this morning a little bit. But hey, the Centennial Fountain's going. We'll head over towards Navy Pier. They're going to have a bunch of stuff going on Navy Pier this week, and I heard Grim Evil sent me some information. Buddy Guy is going to play supposedly on Saturday night around 9 p.m. I'm tempted to actually maybe go down there and see it. I think they're going to have fireworks too. Don't quote me on that. I just heard talk about that. There's Columbus Drive. The boat's going underneath there. Just looking up the Streeterville. Centennial Fountain's going on here. We'll head down to the Columbus Bridge here. We'll try to catch the end of it because it's going for the next 5 minutes here. And then we'll head towards Navy Pier. We'll go down the Ogden Slip. Hey, the Green River. The river looks really green today. Look at that view. You get to the Trump Tower, the Wrigley Building, Chicago, Illinois. We're heading down the stairs here. Yeah, D-Roller, how you doing there? Valerie, Michael Anderson, thanks for being on there. Appreciate it. Eliza, howdy. How you doing there? What is this? September the 18th, 2025, lunchtime, 12:01. There's the lower level, the middle level Wacker Drive, lower Wacker, and lower Wacker's down there. That's where they tow your car. The gates to hell. At least in Chicago. Hey, look at this. Have a nice day. All's well in Cincinnati. Eliza, good. Yeah, we were in Cincinnati last Monday. We got a 3-hour rerun there. riding through the Queen City, but we're in Chicago. There's the Centennial Fountain there. Oh, I saw you walking by the rail there. It was somebody walking by the rail there. Here's, yeah, see they got the boat here. There's the Centennial Fountain going across the Chicago River there. Yeah, look at that. There's, turn off the comments there. Look at that nice view. So we're heading over towards the DeSable Lakeshore Drive. There is a double-deck bridge. That bridge was built in 1939, the one behind there, behind the fountain, Centennial Fountain. Sounds like a boat tour is going right. So watch this. Look at this boat coming underneath us. Wow.
Eastwood Hotel here looks like a sailboat making its way towards the Chicago River. Another by architect Harry Weiss.
Harry Weiss.
And to the right of the Swiss Hotel, just behind the James Harvey, notice this building that has undulating...
Lucia, Chicago. There it is. The architectural tour boat. There's the St. Regis there. Chicago River, Centennial Fountain there. What a beautiful day here, September the 18th, 2025. Let's head towards Navy Pier here and see how far we can make it. I barely have enough time to get to Navy Pier and back, so it's quite a trek. They're doing an hour walking. But here, we'll turn the comments back on. CJ's mommy, how you doing there, Jemmy? Yeah, check the reruns, Eliza. Yeah, I was, you know, I went to University of Cincinnati. I grew up in Southeast Indiana. I told people I was a Reds fan before I was a Chicago sports fan. But we're rooting for the Cubs because I live in Chicago, been here over half my life. And, you know, I rooted for the Sox too, but the Sox they're not going to make the playoffs. The Cubs actually clinched the wild card there, so well, that's the best thing we got there. But it's tough news about Joe Burrow there for the Bengals. We got our own problems with the Bears. There, look at the Sea Dog. Sea Dog's heading through. What a beautiful sunshiny day. We got mid-70s, beautiful day. I like September weather in Chicago, and you see why. So here, let's head down to the water level. Maybe we'll catch the very end when the fountain shuts off. Look, there's a bunch of people. They got everybody sitting outside here. They got a soiree going on here at the Sheraton Hotel at the Riverwalk Esplanade level here. Oh, wow, look at this. Yeah, look at everybody. Yeah, they got the desserts. Look at the desserts there. That's great. Hey, they got the smorgasbord here. Look at that. So here, there's the Sea Dog. There's the St. Regis. Look at that. Look at that spread. What a spread. Yeah, looks very nice. So, Sheraton Hotel. So, the fountain's off. We caught it on the bridge there. And let's head over to the Ogden Slip here. Christopher, how you doing there? Valerie. Anna, beautiful day. Yeah, it's a beautiful day. Let's head to Navy Pier, Chicago, Illinois. Yeah, the flowers are just spectacular in September. Got the seating here by the river. Yeah, you can sit up there. You can sit over here. Here's a pleasure craft going by. So here's that fountain we were looking at, the Centennial Fountain. We'll go by it. And here's Lizzie McNeil's. We'll say hello to Darren Monroe. our friend in Streeterville here. Hey, look at that pleasure craft there. How you doing? Yeah, cruising down the river. So Lizzie McNeil's has a lot of outdoor seating here. It'll be more crowded later today. I don't know if it has quite a crunch crowd. There's just not many people that work around this area. This is mostly residential. And that building's mostly residential and a hotel. I guess the hotels, there's the Sheraton. But this is all residential. Here, the Centennial Fountain. We film it all the time here. Look how nice it looks here. They're little Niagara Falls. Taco jalapeno salsa, how you doing there, Wes? It looks backwards. Well, hey, you can watch it backwards there. I'll talk backwards too. Here's the Centennial Fountain here. That's where the water cannon shoots out of that little pyramid-looking thing. You can walk underneath this thing. And we're going to head up the third court. We're going to head up to the Ogden Slip. And see, is the text backwards? says Nicholas J. Milos, Centennial Fountain there. Can you read that, or is it backwards? You can just have to, you'll have to watch my live stream in the mirror. Looks good, that's good. Yeah. So thanks for dealing with that. No, I don't think anyone has ever mistaken Chicago for Orlando, but you know, that's okay. Does Orlando have a building like this? This is Chicago, Illinois. But we feel like we have Orlando weather today, at least what Orlando has in the wintertime when we're freezing cold here in Chicago. So thanks for that. I'll show you the palm trees by Navy Pier. That's a joke. But yeah, we're in McClurg Court, North Water Street, Chicago, Illinois. And we just were by the Chicago River. Hey, there's the 400 Lakeshore. So that's that new housing development we've been watching go up. There's supposed to be 2 towers. They're only building the first one. We still don't even know if the second one's going to be built. It's funny, the developer took down the rendering because, you know, probably people like me, he saw the rerun. He's like, we might not build the second. We'll see what the economy looks like in a year. But hey, the stock market's at all-time high. You can thank Jerome Powell for doing the president's bidding there and lowering interest rates. The banks love it. The billionaires love it. If you got a 401k or stock market, you love it. Hopefully it'll lower interest or the credit card rates there. But, you know, hopefully it doesn't lead to more inflation. And if it does, I'm sure they'll blame everything else besides the Federal Reserve. But I'm talking above my pay grade here. Here's the Ogden Slip here. Beautiful dogs. People walk their dogs here. Yeah, nice sunshiny day here. We'll head over to Navy Pier along the Ogden Slip here. We'll see if Dorita's doing his artwork here. Warning to future patrons here. So here, let's see what they're... Is this for the unions here? Well, here's what the face of exploitation looks like. What is this about? I'm a live streamer on YouTube. I'm just walking around here. Thank you. Thanks for the information here. Okay, good. So is this union stuff? Yes. Okay, thank you. Appreciate it. That's good. I'm Brian Really Chicago on YouTube. Appreciate it. So hey, there's some union people talking, spreading information about a business owner here. So here, I'll put this in my back pocket and we'll check it out later here. That's good. So here's Woo's Korean Barbecue. Here's Robert's Pizza. We know Robert's Pizza here. I had a pizza with Grim Evil here. Look, they got the windows open. You can sit at the bar. You can sit at the table here. Here, I gotta fold this piece of paper here. Woo! Performing work. Oh, it must be about the Woo House restaurant. Okay, so that restaurant's open. They're not using union labor, so that's what the message is about. See, the same thing happened with the Rainbow Cone. Remember, the Rainbow Cone didn't open this summer, and I think it had something to do with the unions not being used for the work. The local trades, and Chicago is a big union town. You know, more than other American cities because unions have been decimated. That's why Wall Street is so happy. But there's positives and negatives to unions as well. I know I'm generally in support of unions, but there is excesses as well, as we all know. It's hard to work for a company that has a union. You gotta have an uncle that works there, like Archie Bunker. But here, there's Dorita. There's the Dorita Fine Art Gallery on the Ogden Slip here. Here's the Pinch Mediterranean Grill. And here we're heading down along the Ogden Strip. We'll show you the 400 North Lakeshore here. Very lucky guy there. Thanks for tuning in on YouTube, Malcolm. Yeah, Brett. Yeah, this is like, the Ogden Slip is like a river walk. This is the actual, yeah, this is the same level as the river. So this connects to the river. You still have to go through the lock. And hey, Schwab in the deck. How you doing? Here's the Chicago Line cruises here. You can take a cruise there to cleaning up the boat there. We need a bigger boat. But here, now that the sun's behind this, here's the 400 North Lake Shore. Look how tall it's getting. And there it is. I thought it was supposed to, the rendering showed it like turning at the top, but it's just straight up. So maybe they haven't gotten to the point where it starts to taper. It's pretty tall. You can start to see it from all around now. Yeah, Detroit's Riverwalk. Yeah, well, you know, Detroit's watch Anna Robb there. Anna Robb walks around Detroit there. I know they redid their train station, which I'm so happy. They got a beautiful, huge train station that was vacant for decades, and they restored that. So I do want to make a trip to Detroit sometime. It probably won't be this year. Maybe next summer we'll go to Detroit, and I would love to do some live streaming in Detroit. Maybe we can run into Anna Robb there, who lives in Detroit, an ambassador for Detroit, and there's other people. But here's the secret way to get to Navy Pier from the Ogden Slip. As a pedestrian, you can go underneath USABLE Lakeshore Drive and head right over towards Lake Point Tower. See, we're in between the highway here. It's huge. Wowzer. Thanks, Taco. Yeah, if you like this content, just double tap the screen there, give me a thumbs up there, and it helps people find this content. It's a little narrow walking. I remember, I used to walk here before they had this railing. You could just like fall right in the water, and you can still fall right in the water. That little chain's not going to stop anybody from falling in the water. But here, Riverwalk to Navy Pier. Here's the water taxis waiting here. Georgia, how you doing there, Donald? Thanks for tuning in. Donald from Georgia. Yeah, Cubs play the Reds, 6:15. So here's, thanks for the good info there, Taco, jalapeno salsa. Here's the bike path flyover. This is the ramp down to Navy Pier. If you want to keep going north, you go that way where that bike's at there. You can take the stairs up there. Lakefront bike path goes all the way from the south side to the north side. We walked by it this morning. We went to Oak Street Beach on our walk into work there. If you want to see the reruns. Isn't YouTube great if you miss a live stream? Or if you're, you know, got something else going on, you can fast forward, see the reruns there. It's all in the archives. Thanks for following me on YouTube. Yeah, I sent the Brian Really Chicagoans a lot of content creators on TikTok are really nervous about this Oracle buying TikTok, and they're going to force everybody to switch to this new app after December. We're afraid it's going to be an American-only app. No one knows, you know. And that'll, to me, it reminds me of when Rupert Murdoch bought MySpace. MySpace was the original social networking before Facebook. And then people en masse dumped MySpace and switched to Facebook. So you see why I'm already on YouTube. We've been on YouTube for 2 years here now, live streaming. I used to live stream in the landscape format, but the algorithm wouldn't push it, so we're do vertical here, just like we do on TikTok. We can do shorts, and I can transfer reruns. I'm still on TikTok. I'm just not live streaming there. I'm just posting reruns. We went yesterday. We took a bike ride to north of the island. I'm posting shorts of that, and it was such a beautiful day. Just like today, we'll head to Navy Pier here, Chicago, Illinois. No, America's not safe for anybody, including Americans. And we get this question every day. I know there's a huge perception of crime. What's safe? You take risk, whatever you do. You fly in a plane. If we as Americans, we travel abroad, we take risks, travel abroad. If you come to America, you take risk. You know, so I don't know what to tell you there. You know, it's like saying, is water wet? Can bad things happen to good people? Unfortunately, yes. Can Jimmy Kimmel get canceled or because of his free speech? Yes. It's horrible. You know, the hypocrisy. And there's hypocrisy on the left, there's hypocrisy on the right, but just because there's hypocrisy on the left doesn't mean it justifies the hypocrisy on the right. And if you believe in the Constitution, the First Amendment, either you believe it or you don't. And don't gaslight everybody and say free speech for Charlie Kirk. I know he didn't deserve to die, but not free speech for... And it shows you the influence of corporations. Pressure was put on by the security, or the FCC, Federal Communications Commission, from the Trump administration to they pressured a private corporation. And see, this is the beginning of fascism. What's fascism? You know how all, you know, now they're going to label Antifa a terrorist organization. What is Antifa? It could be anything. It could, you know, you could label anybody. It's like McCarthyism. You know, were you ever a member of the Communist Party? We're going through a second age of McCarthyism here. in the age of Trumpism. Hey, look at these. Chicago Live Festival. I think that's what's going on this weekend. Look, they put this up here. Live music at the Pier. Okay, let's see. Chicago Live Festival. 5 world premieres, 5 stages, 2 days. September 20th and 21st here. Chicago Live Festival. Let's see who's Sunday lineup. I want to see if Buddy Guy's on here. Hold on. I can't read. I can't see Buddy Guy. I heard Buddy Guy's going to be here. I'm trying to see if Buddy Guy... I don't see his name here. Did anybody see his name here? So, but here the Chicago Live Festival. And September 20th, 21st this weekend. And there's the fountain here. There's Lake Point Tower. I'll research it online. Grim Evil sent me a link. Yeah, but I'm pretty sure Buddy Guy lives in Chicago. I know he has Buddy Guy's Legends, which is at Balboa and Wabash on the South Loop there. We go by Buddy Guy's Legends all the time when we're in the South Loop. I point it out every time we're down there. And last year he did his whole like farewell tours and stuff, but maybe it's supposed to be a surprise. Hey, look at the dogs. Dogs at Navy Pier. Welcome to Navy Pier. It used to be called Municipal Pier. We come out here every once in a while, maybe once a month or twice a month. We come out to Navy Pier here during lunchtime. And yeah, I know there's no free piece on a job. I know that. And corporations are not protected speech. Just like YouTube, this is not free speech. You know, people always get butthurt when, you know, they get muted in the comments. Social media is not free speech because it's a private corporation. That's a good point. Media companies like ABC, Disney, Hulu, they're not free speech either. It's a private corporation. It shows you the dominance corporations have over our lives. And you can think you have rights, but corporations can fire you at will for any time. ABC might have been wanting to get rid of Jimmy Kimmel for other reasons, and they're using this as an excuse. Same thing happened to Stephen Colbert. And I'm sure Jimmy Kimmel and Stephen Colbert will be fine. They'll have their own podcast, just like Jack Lemmon or Tucker Carlson had to do the same thing. Tucker Carlson got canned from Fox News. He's bigger than ever because he still has name recognition. He could just, you know, start a YouTube channel, and it's not free speech. Remember the Smothers Brothers? Remember in the 60s, the Smothers Brothers? They got, for political speech, they got their show removed too because they were against the Vietnam War. Chicago, thanks for tuning in. And thanks for the good, smart comments here. Yeah, see, we're learning a lot about civics. Now, the government is supposed to protect our right for free speech in the public square. What is the public square? We mistakenly think the internet's the public square to social media, but it's not. It's a corporation. It's monetized speech. They're making or spreading misinformation. But who draws the line? Who watches the watchers? Here, welcome to Navy Pier, Chicago, Illinois. Thanks for tuning in. So it's free to get on here, but it costs money to do the golf or ride the rides. Ferris wheel's pretty expensive. Hey, they got putt-putt golf with the green water. Hey, play some putt-putt golf. Riding a teacup, just like a cheaper version of Disney here. But hey, it's a beautiful day. Here we'll walk to the other side so we can show the transient boat slips. Yeah, Chicago misses you. Thanks for tuning in here. But the question I ask is, why is Jimmy Kimmel, a comedian, so much of a threat to this administration? Are they that paranoid? You know, he's a comic. He has a show, just like Stephen Colbert. Why are they so afraid of Stephen Colbert? What they can't take a joke? You know, like Saturday Night Live, they make fun of all presidents. They made fun of Biden. They make fun of Trump. They made fun of Gerald Ford falling down all the time. That's how Chevy Chase got his, you know, became so popular, by making fun of Gerald Ford. Here's but I've never seen an administration so paranoid and No offense to, if you like these guys, you can hang out with Stephen Miller all you want. I wouldn't want to hang out with that guy for a second. That's just my personal opinion. You know, it's not somebody, he's not my cup of tea. Here's, so here, Navy Pier will show you this nice view. You can sit at these, sometimes I lose my connection here. I know we cut in and out. Here, look at that nice view. Hey, look at those boats. So here's the transient boat slips at Navy Pier here. And that's, look at that tugboat. That's the Jardine water plant. Let's go check out these boats here. Let's check this out here. Well, we got 1223. I don't even know if I can get down there. Let's just go over to here. No, there's consequences for free speech. Unless you're Donald Trump. Donald Trump, he singles out people all the time. He says he could shoot somebody on Fifth Avenue, which would be a federal crime. It would be a murder. And people celebrate that. You know, I know it's supposed to be irony. It's supposed to be like, but he probably could. There would be people that still support him if he do public executions, and he would be the one pulling the trigger. People probably like that. Here's look at the transient boat slips here, and this is between Navy Pier and the Jardine water plant. Yeah, there's consequences for free speech, and it signals to me that I should start getting away from corporate America if they start aligning themselves. Corporate America aligns themselves with one political party over the other, and they got all the money, and they own all the media. Here, look at that. Oh, I'm walking on, this gate should be closed. I'm walking on the, but here, I'm just trying to have a nice day here, walk around Navy Pier. Shows you how much politics dominates our life. We can't even have any conversation. How you doing? Oh yeah, I'm Brian Really Chicago. I'm sorry, I didn't realize you were yelling. I'm like looking at the comments here. How you doing?
I'm well, you?
Not bad. What a beautiful day. I like it.
The weather is nice today.
I was checking out the transient boat slips. It seems like a lot of people are using that.
Yes, they are.
That's good.
I kind of like it. You just looked at it?
I just looked. I haven't used it. I don't own a boat, but yeah. But hey, they're having a big festival this week, and I heard Buddy Guy might be here.
Yes.
Is he going to be here?
Yes.
9 o'clock, right, on Saturday?
I don't know the time, but I know he is coming.
I'll check online. And I think they're going to have fireworks too, right?
I'm not sure.
Okay, I'll check. What's your name? You want to say hello? Or?
Hi. I'm Vanell. I'm here at Navy Pier.
Good. Well, thanks for saying hello, Vanell. Have a great day.
Good to see you.
Good to see you, Brian. I'm on YouTube now because I'm getting away from TikTok. TikTok changed their terms and conditions, and I'm afraid because they just got sold that it makes it hard for us live streamers because we get a lot of strikes and like they want to ban our accounts. So I'm switching to YouTube. Yeah, and I try to be
your name is still the same on YouTube.
Brian Really Chicago.
Gotcha.
So check me on YouTube. Appreciate it. That's good. Good to see you. Thanks for saying hello. That's great. See, it's good. See, and she's working here at Navy Pier. That's great. See, here they got somebody swinging here. Thank you. See, putt-putt golf. We got the swings going. Yeah, they're doing it for one probably a father and daughter there. Look at that. Wow, look at that. There's the swings here at Navy Pier. Yeah, look at that. Wow. Here's the Ferris wheel. So hey, Navy Pier's looking nice. Thanks for tuning in. Welcome to Chicago here. What a beautiful day. Yeah, it feels like 80 degrees now. It's probably upper 70s, but it's such bright, strong sunshine. So hey, I've been missing a bunch of comments there. Yeah, those swings are crazy. I know. You always feel like it's gonna fly out there. Here's the carousel. So hey, let's head back down to the lake here. Hey, there I am in the funny mirror. You get the funhouse mirror here. Look, I'm really skinny. But hey, look at this beautiful skyline. Yeah, look here. Let's check this out. Look at the 400 Lakeshore, and that's the Lake Point Towers on the right. On the left there, the tall building is the St. Regis. And hey, they got a crane here of this stage. So these stages will be used this weekend for the festival at Navy Pier here. So Buddy Guy is going to play here. I just need to find the time there. And a legendary blues performer, one of the last of his generation. He was a contemporary of so many others that we've lost. And so here, let's head down the stairs here. Hey, man, how you doing there? Dave Nasty. Margie, how you doing there? Hey, so this is the stage here at Navy Pier. They'll use it this week. I think they might have fireworks. I'm not for sure. Don't quote me on that. And it's going to be hard to live stream if it's going to be crowded here. It'll be even hard to live stream the live music, but we might give it a try. And there might be, you know, other Chicago live streamers might be covering it. So here, let's, there was a different time that we walked all the way to the end of Navy Pier and we saw the Bob Newhart statue. I'm not going to do that today. If you want to see that, we got shorts and we got the whole live stream rerun piece. We did it on YouTube. Message me if you want to see the Bob Newhart statue with he's sitting on the couch there. I agree, it should be on Michigan Avenue next to the Realtor building where he worked in his show, but for some reason they stuck it out of the Navy Pier thinking people would walk all the way out there just to see it, but most people are like, who is this? Why is this here? There's not a plaque. And if you don't know, it's Bob Newhart. It looks like Bob Newhart, but not everybody, younger generation, knows. You might, if you're younger, you know him as Buddy the Elf in the Elf movie with oh, what's his name? And then he's also in the Big Bang Theory. He's the imaginary friend of Sheldon there, the Jedi from Star Wars, Bob Newhart. He was Sheldon's imaginary friend there because he likes Star Wars. That's Bob Newhart. He had shows in the 70s and 80s. The 70s show was in Chicago. The 80s show was in Vermont. My brother Daryl, my other brother Daryl. But he was from Chicago, or he was from, I think he went to Loyola. I think he was from Oak Park or Evanston, maybe Evanston. Here's the Hugh Brantley Flyboy there in 3D form. And here, Harry Carey's. Here's the big glove. You can sit in it, take your picture. Harry Carey's Tavern here in Navy Pier. He's from Oak Park. Thank you. Thanks, very lucky guy. I thought he was from Oak Park. Yeah, good. Thanks for helping me out there. So he's a Chicagoan. And that's why his show was set there. He was set in the city of Chicago up by Loyola. We went by his apartment there. Hey, Reunion by Chef Art Smith here. You can sit there and get your cocktails to go. Navy Pier. So, no promises, but there's a high likelihood we might be back here Saturday night, especially if Buddy Guy's playing. And there'll be some other Chicago live streamers, I'm sure, here covering it, especially if there's fireworks. So here, let's head past the fountain. We'll head past the front of Navy Pier here in Navy Pier, Chicago, Illinois. We got a beautiful day here. And there's a fountain. Yeah, let's go to Ohio Street Beach. There's a nice view there by Olive Park. The Chicago Hinge is coming up. That's where we filmed the Chicago Hinge this spring. I got to travel for work next week, so and it's supposed to rain this week. That's the other thing. It's supposed to rain. The weather's supposed to be nice until Saturday and Sunday, and then there's rain in the forecast, so hopefully that won't dampen the whole festival here at Navy Pier. There's a children's museum inside there, and a bunch of other gift shops and restaurants and activities. Yeah, is Lisa tuning in there? Yeah, Bisa Lisa. Thanks for tuning in. The rain. Yeah, Wes. Yeah, getting the whole band back together. So here's the fountain here at Navy Pier. You can run through it. It's warm enough to run through it, but nobody's in it today. See, watch this. Let's give this a try. Let's see if I can do this without getting wet. You can walk right down the middle of it. Look how I'm walking through the middle of the fountain here without getting wet. Ah! Woo! Got the Coast Guard. They have been doing a lot of helicopter tours around the Skyline because it's such a clear day. Here's the Butterfly House at Navy Pier. I have not gone inside it because you got to pay money. You know how bad I am about paying to go into stuff. Here's the big bus, Depop. We'll head behind here. Of course, it's blocking my path here. Pulled right in front of where I want it to cross. We're giving people. Oh, people are getting on the big bus here. Art, gifts, souvenirs. Butterfly House at Navy Pier. Oops, excuse me. Speed bumps, yeah. So there's Lake Point Tower. Hop on, hop off. There's the Ferris wheel. Yeah, you can wait here for certain buses, I guess. Mountains everywhere. Yeah, water. We got a lot of water. Lake Michigan. We'll go to Ohio Street Beach really quick here, and then I got to head back to work. But hey, thanks for coming along. We talked to some of the people at Navy Pier. That was great. And here, the Jardine water plant here, one of the two main water filtration facilities here. Lake Michigan is their drinking source, but thankfully they filter the water and treat it. Look at all the divvy bikes here. Here's Olive Park. Yeah, I make vlogs. You check out my page there, Brian Really Chicago. I have over 1,000 videos on YouTube. I probably got 5,000 videos on TikTok. I have 97,000 followers on TikTok, but even though we've been streaming on YouTube for 2 years, I've been posting content daily or weekly. I've been majority of the time live streaming on TikTok until now. Their TikTok's being sold. They changed their terms and conditions, and I don't think I'll be the only one that switches to other, especially if they force everybody to download a new app and they make an American-only app. It's part of Larry Ellison and Oracle buying TikTok. But here, let's quickly walk out to. There's an amazing view to the Streeterville Skyline from Olive Park. This is Olive Park, named after. Here, let's show it here, so I make sure I get it right. He paid the ultimate sacrifice in the Vietnam War in the mid 1960s. Milton L. Olive III Park, recipient of the Medal of Honor. He literally jumped on a grenade in Vietnam to save his battalion there. And that's why they honored him with this park here, Olive Park. And it's by Ohio Street Beach, which we'll see. And it's near Navy Pier. So if you go to Navy Pier and you're looking for a park to get these nice views, this is open during the day. They close it at night because, of course, homeless people would sleep in here. And I would too. If I was homeless, I would want to sleep here too. Yeah, Navy Pier is a warm weather attraction. They do have stuff in the winter time, but yeah, it's less visited in the winter time, obviously. Yeah, there you go. Thanks for giving your handles there on YouTube. Yeah, we're figuring each other out here. Oh, the workers' strike in Paris. Yeah, I know there's been civil unrest in Paris. And there's even protests in England over the President Trump's visit there to the King of England. Yeah, it's open all year round. Thanks for the good info there. Thanks for helping out there. So Olive Park here. Yeah, look at the boats out in the playpen here. What a beautiful bay to be on the boat here, Ohio Street Beach. Hey, there's a stand-up paddleboard there. And we'll get you these skyline views once we get out past this fence. Yeah, 76 degrees. Not too shabby. Sheridan. Yeah. Cytoplasm. I like that name. Cytoplasm. Yeah, that's cytoplasms in your cells. Those Amakumar. Yeah, we make vlogs. So here we go. Let me go just a little further here. Hey, see, come out here and sit on the edge here with your dogs here. So, Olive Park, Chicago, Illinois. See, there's the Ferris wheel for Navy Pier. Jardine water plant. Look at this spectacular view you get of Ohio Street Beach, Streeterville Skyline, all the way to John Hancock, 875 North Michigan. And then you can look up to the Gold Coast. This is Lake Michigan, Chicago, Illinois here, and that's the break wall. You see there's a pier that kind of sits out there. But look at this view. Look at that. Yeah. Yeah, we feel like we're on a boat. I agree. So hey, I got to get back to work here, but I would love to be on that boat. Look at that. You know, I'm just showing you how the other half lives here. Look at that. One day we'll be out on one of those boats. Not today. Yeah, beautiful view. Yeah, Christy, check it out. Olive Park here, Ohio Street Beach. Ohio Street Beach is the closest beach to Streeterville and the Loop of Chicago. Probably the second closest is 12th Street Beach, which we went to it yesterday, which is by Northerly Island. But they're both these little pocket beaches protected by this like little bay. And there's the Lake Point Tower. Gentle waves today. Yeah, we're blessed. Isn't it nice on my lunch? You know, even before the age of live streaming, I would walk over here during my lunch break, just like I would just like doodle around. People think I most of what I do is just film my walk to work. I walk around the loop, and we took a bike ride to Northern Island yesterday, stuff like that. And then at night I just walk home. We can go by Oak Street Beach, North Avenue Beach. We can go through the Gold Coast, Lincoln Park. I know it's touristy areas. I know it's not the south side and the west side. We got plenty of Chicago live streamers that cover all areas of the city, and I got 300 videos of the west and south side on TikTok. And when I ask people to watch them, they're like, no. But people are everywhere. People are people, so why should it be? We get along so awfully. Yeah, Mungo, how you doing there? Like the hearts there. Well, okay, so I have a day job. TikTok and YouTube do not pay the bills. I make a little money from the creator funds, but it's getting less and less. And even as my audience grows, it's interesting. But yeah, we got reruns from Diversity Harbor. The picture on my YouTube, I put a banner at the top there, so I look more official. That Skyline photo was taken from Diversity Harbor. You can see the boats there. That's that amazing view. Yeah, there's the Chevron out there by the lake. That's where we caught the air show there the Sunday, the last day of it. Earlier we were up on the rooftop there with Jeremy. But here, this is Ohio Street Beach. See, they got restrooms here, and you get some kayaks. And this is Ohio Street Beach, Chicago, Illinois. Let's zoom in here. Look at the looking up the North Shore here. So yeah, Diversity Harbor's up there by that big building right there. That's where Diversity Harbor. Oh, I made it get out of focus there. So here, let's zoom out. There, the John Hancock Streeterville housing. That used to be the W Hotel, but they took the W off. Hey, yeah, come to the beach here. What time we got? 12:41. So I have to head back to the office. It's going to be hard for me to make it back there in 20 minutes, but we'll give it a try. See, they got concessions here, a nice restaurant, a bar. I think it's called Olivia or something. Cafe Olivia. Yeah, Diversity Harbor, Kim. Yeah, I use hashtags. So if you search Brian Riley Chicago and hashtag Diversity Harbor or Diversity or, you know, Lincoln Park, it might pop up there. Or Lakeview. It's on the edge of Lakeview. But hey, people in the shade here. So you can rent some chairs here. You can rent these lounge chairs. Ohio Street Beach. People are in the water. Hey, you get your little playpen for your kids there at the beach there, yeah. So the red flag's out, which is interesting. Even though there's no waves, I guess maybe there's riptides. Well, it's because there's no lifeguard. We're past Labor Day, so the reason it's red is not because it's unsafe. It's just there's no lifeguard on duty because we're after Labor Day. There are lockers. So here, we'll head back to Streeterville here. Thank you for visiting. Come again soon here, Ohio Street Beach. Yeah. Cafe Olivia, that's what they call this, yeah. I thought that's what they called this. Here it is. Cafe Olivia at Ohio Street Beach. Mediterranean fare, burgers, craft beer, cocktails, daily specials. Okay, Jane Addams Memorial Park. Jane Addams, of course, the Hall House. We visited the Hall House there. Social reformer and women's suffragette. Very important historic figure in Chicago. Here's the bike path and the world. I work for an architecture engineering firm, so I've been working in this industry. I'm not an architect or an engineer. I'm a city planner, so I work with landscape architects and civil engineers and architects on various developments. We're going underneath DuSable Lakeshore Drive here. We got a bunch of advertisements on the wall here. So we'll pop out at Streeterville here. So you can get robbed anywhere. You can get robbed right here. You can get robbed on the internet. You know, there's somebody probably trying to hack into my bank account right now on the internet. So we're not safe anywhere. You can get robbed by a politician. You can get robbed by a corporation. You can get robbed by your friend or your spouse. I'm not making light of it. There is crime in the city. There was a smash and grab on Michigan Avenue last week. Somebody died, and when they tried to get away, they wrecked into somebody, an innocent person, just with their wife driving to work probably, you know. And I don't know why everybody's so glib. There was crime in Chicago before. Okay, the first 4 years of the Trump administration, crime did get worse in Chicago. And then it got really worse under Biden after the pandemic. And now it's getting a little better. And from my perspective, it's better now than it was 4 years ago. It's still not ideal. There's always been crime in the city. I've lived in the city for 26 years. Every day there'll be somebody like you asking about crime. I know crimes. Everybody has anxiety. Everybody has, you know, we all have social media. You see how much crime goes on in the world, but not all the crime happens in Chicago. Just some of it. Here's Fleeta's Harley Davidson. But to me, that's a rhetorical question. It's like if you jump in the river, will you get wet? You know, where in the city can you get robbed? You get robbed right here. You get robbed. Me walking to work, River North. I have had stressful encounters with people that don't like me filming on the street. I understand that too. But we're in public. Yeah, it's a nice bike. Yeah, you're right, Michael. And it's a sign of our times. You know, there's positive and negatives to everything. You know, we never could imagine. You know, think what our forebears went through. You know, how hard life was. And now we have it relatively much better than, you know, because of modern. And is all this modern stuff making us happy? You know exactly what I'm talking about, Michael. Sometimes it's the simple things in life that are free that bring us the most joy and happiness. But that's not what they're selling on the internet. They want you to take a cruise so you get the norovirus. They want you to fly in a plane and then the plane drops out of the sky. They want you to buy a car and then the car gets stolen. And this is what leads to misery and suffering, and it's the desire that we feel like we're not happy unless we achieve a certain level of material comfort. You know, and it's what drives the whole economy is wanting more, selling stuff, you know, desires, creating. And that's why, you guys get it, people in the lunch bunch. I am not trying to sell you anything. I'm not an influencer. I'm a content creator. I'm just showing the world as it is. I try to show the city in a positive light. That's a choice. Yeah, I could be just as depressing, and, you know, sometimes I get angry and turn into my Jekyll and Hyde. But I can't run my show like that. I got to stay on the sunny side of the street here, you know, as far as how I frame the city here. I don't want to bash the city I live in, you know, and people do that in the comments enough. So, but again, I try to stow stuff that's free, like going to the lake, going to Navy Pier. I'm not trying to sell you. I'm not trying to sell you a subscription. You can subscribe for free and follow my content. Never pay me anything. I'll still be friends with you. I'm not trying to sell you a subscription or a something in my TikTok shop or my spread shop. I'm not trying to sell you a t-shirt. I could care less about that. And that's why I don't make much money off of social media. I'm okay with that. I have social connection. I feel more connected to my Chicago community here. And here, what time we got? 12:48. So let's see if we can make it down to the Centennial Fountain. We got 12 minutes to make it to the Centennial Fountain. We'll go down. This is McClurg Court here in Streeterville. There's the Streeter statue. Let's show the Streeter statue here. Let's see if I can cross the street. Yeah. So Streeterville is named after this character named Captain Streeter. He had in the late 1800s, like 1880s, he had a steamship that used to run around the Great Lakes and the Chicago River and stuff. And it ran aground before the World's Columbian Exposition. A sandbar developed in this area after the Great Chicago Fire because this was part of the lake, but then they pushed a lot of the rubble onto the lake and a sandbar found, and he ran his steamship aground there and claimed he couldn't get out of the sand, and so he lived on the ship with one of his wives, and a vice district grew up around a shanty town grew up around his steamship, and they called it Streeterville. And he was the honorary mayor of Streeterville. There he is with his dog, Captain George Cap Wellington Streeter. An eccentric residence that gave Streeterville his name. That's an understatement. And he eventually lost his land claims to Fairbanks. Why is that named Fairbanks? He was the real estate developer, made a fortune. He didn't have standing in court because he was a squatter. But it was unplatted land. It was new land. And he just didn't have access to lawyers. Or he had access to lawyers. He didn't have as much money as Fairbanks. So what's the lesson there? Yeah. Yeah, watch the rerun there. Yeah, he's a flim flam artist. You got it. You been at Yolks? Yeah, the Yolks. I didn't point out the Yolks breakfast place there. There's a nice breakfast place there called Yoke. Thanks for pointing that out. But hey, thanks for tuning in. Welcome to Chicago. Here we're at Illinois and Fairbanks. What a beautiful day. We went out to Navy Pier. If you missed it, you can watch the rerun there. That's the good thing about YouTube. And you might have to watch a commercial, but it makes me 2 cents. And it doesn't come out of your pocket. It comes out of the creator fund for YouTube. The advertisers there. Here's Target. There, see the top of that? Look how tall that's getting. It's over top of that here. So here, Walgreens. Yeah, look at this building. I remember when they built this building around 2005, 7. I don't know. See, this is the big long warehouse here that they converted to housing, and there's a Target there now. It used to be something else, a different grocery store. Here, let's cross the street so we can show the Ogden Slip again here. We'll show the 400 North Lakeshore. We saw this earlier, but we're just retracing our steps as we head back to the office. There's a nice view to the St. Regis, but the sun's behind it, so it's really hard to see. Thanks for subscribing there. Thanks, peace. Peace to all, 2022. I like that. Nice name. Motivational bot. Yeah, I need that. Hey, Local 11 roofers. Building in front of us, Local 11 roofers. Good, thanks for pointing out the unions there. Yeah, we saw some union activity here. They gave me a flyer. I think they're building some new stuff here. But here, they were just here. I wonder where they went. But here's the, here's the 400 North Lakeshore here. The Ogden Slip there. We just went down there, Robert's Pizza. Yeah, look how they added all these balconies along here. There's the 400 Lakeshore. See, I told you it was going to be taller than that building, and they're still not even topped out yet. There you can see the top of the Tribune there briefly. We'll head back to the Centennial Fountain. So I think I have time to get back to the Columbus Bridge before it starts. So we'll go by it, and then we'll head towards the Columbus Bridge, so I'll be closer to my office when it starts there. From Ireland, Kat, thanks for tuning in from Ireland. That's great. Kat Cobain. Colonel Sanders, yeah, that's what Streeter's like Colonel Sanders, or he's like the Monopoly man there. Yeah, I appreciate. Thanks for tapping. Thanks for double tapping the screen there. Yeah. Whole Foods, yeah. Whole Foods half off. Hey, the sunset behind the St. Regis. So there, it's like the big Stonehenge there. There's your Chicago hinge there. It's 1,100 feet tall. There you can see the lower streets and the upper streets there. That's in front of the Sheridan there, or behind the Sheridan. North Water Street, McClure Court, Chicago, Illinois. 1253 City Front Place here. Yeah, Darren Moreau got us up there. That's great. What a nice view. Yeah, so St. Regis designed by Jeannie Gang. This is the tallest building in the world, designed by a woman architect, Jeannie Gang. She still practices here in Chicago. That's the Aqua. She also designed this building. And she also designed the pavilion there in Lincoln Park by the South Pond. We go by it all the time. We went by it the last 2 days. These are Lee Jeannie Gang's architect, world renowned here in Chicago. And here's the Centennial Fountain. Look at the boats going by here. And we'll go over and try to catch the water cannon when it starts here. Here's the shoreline sightseeing going by. The Centennial Fountain here, Chicago River. Thanks for tuning in here. There it is. And so we got a large barge coming through here. There's our little Niagara Falls here. Look at this mountain. Yeah, the wobbly one. There's the Trump Tower. But there's the St. Regis there, the sun's. But here, let's see if we can make it to the Columbus Bridge there in the next 5 minutes. I'm on a mission here. Eli Manning was in the Whole Foods. Which one? This one? Where does he live? I don't even know. Does he live in New York? They could be on the job site, yeah. Hey, here comes the Chicago's classic lady here. Yeah, First Lady. Architectural tour boat. Look at all the party boats you can rent there. So there, Harry Weiss did this Swiss Hotel. Jeannie Gang did the Aqua. There's Lizzie McNeil's Irish pub here. Chicago Burger Company. There's the boat going by here. We're in front of the Sheridan Hotel. Hey, shake things up. Hey, Bomaro, how you doing there? Thanks for tuning in. So I'm happy we got an international audience here. That's what I'm worried about with the new TikTok. They're going to make an American-only TikTok because they don't want us being influenced by foreign things. So we're only subject to American propaganda, which is potentially worse, depending on where it comes from. It's all subjective. Look at these little planting boxes. They get little herbs. They're planting little herbs here and little here's some marigolds. Yeah, they're little planting boxes here. We saw this when we walked through here. There's some party going on here. They got a nice banquet here. Sheridan Grand here, Chicago Riverwalk. Yeah, they got the buffet here. Look at this. Look at that spread there. Wow, nice food here. It looks great. Yeah. Hey, you got the dessert. Hey, look at these desserts. Yeah. Here's the dessert cart. There's 1256. We're gonna make it. We're gonna go up right there. We're gonna get in position for the water cannon here. Hey, thanks for coming along to Navy Pier there. They're a little crazy. Iron workers, yeah, you got to be a little crazy to be an iron worker there. You're out there. You can't be afraid of heights. Imagine the old days when they had to catch the hot rivets there at the top of the Empire State Building. Here, look at the boat here. Columbus Dry Bridge here, Chicago, Illinois. Yeah, there's the Trump Tower. There's the Aeon. And there's the top of the Tribune. How you doing? There's the top of the Onion Dome of the Intercontinental Hotel. So here, let's go over that. Yeah, 12:57, we're gonna make it. I can slow down here. Yeah, thanks for joining us. So the Chicago River, there's a good view to the St. Regis, designed by Jeannie Gang, tallest building designed by a female architect that I know of. Swiss Hotel was designed by Harry Weiss. There's the Aon, it looks like the World Trade Center. There's the Trump Tower, second tallest building in Chicago, because of that spire, the Wrigley building. Here comes an ambulance. So here we'll watch this ambulance go across the Columbus Drive Bridge here. General Hospital. 53 heading under Columbus Drive there. Under Wacker Drive, excuse me. So we got 12:58. Yeah, let's go over here. We'll see if we can get up there. 12:58. We got a minute to get to the top here. See that boat? See how that boat's starting to turn? So they're getting ready for the Centennial Fountain. So yeah, let's stay right here. This will be a good spot to film it here. So, well, hey, thanks again, everybody. Diego Rios, yeah, Diego Rios, Omaro there, tea time. See you, Lisa. Lisa's got to go back to work there, so do I. Margie, Valerie, Christy, Lorraine, thanks everybody. Taco Jalapeno Salsa, thanks for being on. Michael Anderson, motivational bot. Yeah, very lucky guy. See, look, that shoreline turned sideways because they know in less than 30 seconds the Centennial Fountain water cannon should shoot out there. That's why I got the camera point this way. See, we're here by the NBC tower. So I'll kind of here. Let me turn off the comments just for a second here. Let's get this framed here. We can get the Centennial Fountains about. There it goes. There it goes. See, there's the water jet, just like a fire hose. There it goes, and that'll go for 5 minutes now. Everybody on the boat there can take their shot. There's the Centennial Fountain. We saw at the beginning and at the end there. So hey, thanks everybody for tuning in there. Have a great day. I'm going to sign off here. So if you missed any part of this, watch the rerun. Will be on after 5 tonight on YouTube. Thanks for everybody for being loyal here and watching me on a different platform, all my TikTok audience. And I'll still be posting the reruns to TikTok. Just more content will be, the live streaming will happen on YouTube for the foreseeable future. So thanks for understanding. Thanks, mods. You guys are great. We'll see you tonight after 5. So from Lower Wacker Drive, signing off here in Chicago. Have a great day. Appreciate it. Yeah, see you tonight, Krista. Thank you. All right, bye. See you, Ann.